Something happened inside this house.
There was a party here at the Delt house last night.
We were all playing with our lives. I mean, and it could have been any one of us. And it was just the stupidest thing that I've ever been a part of.
I think even as a smart kid, you can make a dumb choice. And I think Joey was in a situation where he was exposed to GHB, this drug that took his life, and he was with his fraternity brothers. They had been out that night. He was under the influence of alcohol.
He didn't realize what he was doing. I don't think anybody else realized the ramifications of drinking, taking an overdose of GHB.
I've been with Joe for a long time, and I've seen him, pass out from drinking before.
We put him to bed, and the party resumed.
They decided to look in on him every half hour to make sure he was okay, like any other night. And the first 1 or 2 times he was fine, and the third time he was dead.
All right, what is he doing? He's not doing anything. He just threw a ball.
The family of an Ohio State student is grieving tonight.
Joseph Upshaw died 45 minutes after Columbus paramedics picked him up.
Do they now know what the young man died from?
A 911 call may shed some light.
I think he's had too much GHB.
Too much what?
GHB.
What's GHB?
It's a drug.
I was the first person to walk in the room and see him. And I knew right away that it was like almost like a sixth sense. Like I just knew that was it right then and there when I saw him.
This is every mother's worst nightmare, is to get the phone call that your son is dead. And it certainly was the most terrible news I've ever had.
No one should ever put their mother in a position where they have to, where that mother has to bury a child.
I know that Joey would not want to ever hurt me this way. And I know he's the most surprised one of all, that he's not here today.
Right from the very beginning, we thought, how could this happen? How could this happen to Joey? 4 years, a lovable kid. Everybody looked up to him. Why did Joey die?
We talked about it, how we needed to slow down. But no one, looking back, no one really took it seriously because nothing was gonna happen to us, If we didn't slow down, we'd keep having fun, Nothing was gonna happen to us.
We started off just drinking. I mean, that was great. We'd get drunk, and then it was like, well, what can we do to get even higher? And people just started to seem to like chase this high, this like, well, we did this and this, we got drunk, and then we drank some GHB, and well, let's see, what can we do now to top that? And people just kept chasing the better high.
We're all human beings. Human beings can die pretty easily and pretty unexpectedly. And this brought that whole sense of immortality crashing down.
An OSU fraternity is struggling to understand the sudden and unexplained death of a fellow student.
The campus community is shocked that something like this could happen.
Sometimes it takes a tragic death like that of OSU student Joseph Upshaw to open our eyes to the obvious.
A lot of people's lives changed drastically after that night.
When you're wasted, you're not really sharing time with each other. I mean, you might be wasted and think you're having a great time, but you really don't learn about people and meet people and have a great time with people when you're that wasted. You're pretty much enjoying it with yourself.
This could happen to anybody. This happened to my son. It just didn't happen to anybody. It happened to my son, and it could happen to you.
You don't make good judgments when you don't have at least a group of people that are sober, or a few people watching over what's going on.
If you see people stepping out of line, sit down and say something to them. Don't just sit back and watch things fall apart.
Stay away from these drugs. We don't know what's in them. We don't know what we're doing to ourselves when we take them. Every single person's life is way more valuable than a night of partying. It's just not worth it. I mean, I learned firsthand it's just not worth it. There's so much more to life.
They say the 22-year-old Joe Upshaw was a great kid that everyone loved.
The sadness that a life so young is now a life lost.
What a sad story. You look at the kid, had so much academic success, good-looking, young. I mean, gosh.
Joey's viewing, when he died, we had over 700 people come through the line. They were lined up out to the street.
There's like a hole in my life almost where, you know, it almost is like when Joe passed away, part of me died too.
Joe was a part of me. He was a happy side of me. When I saw Joe, I was happy too.
Anybody's lives who he touched have told me, I can see in their faces just what a difference he made in their lives. And I hated that he died this death, because that certainly didn't represent what a wonderful, great kid he truly was. He was a wonderful son and a wonderful friend to many people.